Today, we delve into another chilling case that challenges our understanding of human behavior. Why do people commit unthinkable crimes? Human nature is complex, often driven by motives like material gain, revenge, or domestic disputes. But what happens when these motives lead to a crime so shocking it defies comprehension? On January 12, 2019, tragedy struck in Winter Park, Florida. Michael Redlick, a 65-year-old former NBA executive and beloved university professor, was reported dead from an apparent heart attack. However, upon closer inspection, authorities discovered he had actually been stabbed.
Tonight, we're getting a look at new evidence showing the relationship between a woman and her husband, who she's accused of murdering. Prosecutors say Danielle Redlick stabbed Michael Redlick to death in their Winter Park home in January.
This revelation turned a seemingly natural death into a criminal investigation. The focus turned to his wife, Danielle Redlick, a 46-year-old specialist in multimedia communications. Once an ordinary working mother of two, Danielle's life took a dark turn following her husband's tragic death. The media spotlight revealed a complex web of secrets and betrayal, unraveling the facade of a seemingly respectable couple.
News 6's Vanessa Ariza has been digging into the dozens of pieces of new evidence. She joins us now live in studio. So Vanessa, what are these documents revealing?
Lisa, there are numerous video clips showing the inside of the home and the disarray it was found in by detectives, along with 911 calls, pictures of Danielle's journal, and emails between her husband and a woman he reportedly had an affair with.
Danielle, born in 1976 in Florida, had a relatively normal upbringing until tragedy struck her family. Her mother's battle with breast cancer, despite the comprehensive medical care funded by her stepfather's insurance, ended in heartbreak. The loss marked a turning point in Danielle's life, shaping her into the woman who would later stand trial for her husband's murder. Throughout the legal proceedings, Danielle's defense was inconsistent. Her testimony often changed. The courtroom drama unfolded as both sides presented their versions of events, leaving the true nature of Michael Redlick's death shrouded in mystery until the final verdict.
Did you stab your husband?
I did. Yes.
Why?
He was suffocating me. I couldn't breathe, and he had me pinned down.
Can you explain more?
Well, I was scared, and I was just in fear for my life. He had thought he snapped, and I could die.
Why were you in fear for your life? Why did you think that you could die in that circumstance?
Just how he had me pinned down, and I couldn't breathe, and so just the look in his eye, his anger, and I couldn't get away.
This case raises disturbing questions about trust, deception, and the darker sides of human relationships. What led Danielle Redlick, once an unassuming wife and mother, to become entangled in such a tragic fate? Could this harrowing crime have been prevented, or was it destined to expose the fragile underbelly of suburban tranquility? Initially built on friendship and mutual support, Danielle and Michael's bond deepened over time. Despite a significant age gap and differences in lifestyle, their connection grew stronger. Michael's career in sports and Danielle's work in multimedia made for a dynamic partnership. He provided stability and opportunities, while she brought youthful energy and devotion to their growing family. But life took a darker turn when Michael's career ambitions led him down a path of stress and alcohol dependency.
Well, at first the relationship was fine, but then over time there were allegations of controlling behaviors and that he had a drinking problem.
He was following me around the house and I was trying not to engage. I locked myself in the bathroom. He broke the door open. He was scaring me, so I decided to leave. And he was drinking heavily.
I'm not a rocket scientist, but wait a minute. There's 8 empty bottles of wine in the garbage. Mike didn't like wine. So those bottles got emptied by somebody other than Mike.
His new role with the Memphis Grizzlies brought financial success, but also immense pressure. The once tranquil household became tense as Michael's drinking escalated, causing rifts in what seemed like a united front. During the trial that followed Michael's tragic death in 2019, revelations surfaced from Danielle's own daughter, Jaden. She described Michael as a loving father figure who supported her dreams in sports, contrasting sharply with her view of Danielle as manipulative and often causing conflict at home. As tensions mounted, questions arose. What drove Michael to seek solace in alcohol? Was Danielle's behavior truly as divisive as Jaden believed? Or were there deeper, unseen forces at play?
We had some issues last year. He basically cheated on me, and it was a big, long, drawn-out thing. And I found a slew of emails of him carrying on with another woman, and that just crushed me.
The trial painted a complex picture of family dynamics shattered by ambition, stress, and the pursuit of a seemingly perfect life. Through it all, Danielle's role in Michael's death remained ambiguous, clouded by conflicting testimonies and personal accounts. What started as a story of love and blended family ended in tragedy, leaving a community grappling with shattered illusions and unanswered questions. However, Michael's career setbacks and increasing dependence on alcohol strained their marriage. Tensions escalated, culminating in instances of physical violence where Michael's apologies and promises of change were fleeting respites in an otherwise turbulent existence.
Thursday, I ended up leaving the home to avoid any kind of distress for the kids. My daughter, the two of them were yelling at each other, and I said, okay, that's it, we're leaving. So I took her with me to a friend's house, and my son wanted to see. He was belligerent, but he wasn't being physically harmful to the kids.
The family's frequent relocations, from Cleveland to California and finally Indiana, reflected their search for stability amidst financial strain and marital discord. Despite efforts to rebuild their lives in new locales, the cracks in their relationship deepened, exacerbated by suspicions of infidelity and lingering resentments. The final chapter in this tragic saga unfolded one fateful evening in 2019. Amidst mounting tension and unresolved issues, an argument turned violent, leaving Danielle battered and traumatized. What started as an ill-timed joke escalated into a physical altercation that left Danielle injured and emotionally scarred. Danielle's loyalty to Michael wavered between forgiveness and self-blame, even as their relationship veered further from the idyllic family life they had once envisioned.
We just kind of want to get some type of information as to what happened. If you're willing to talk to us, that'd be good.
I'm perfectly willing to say what happened. I'm really concerned about my kids knowing that their dad's gone. Well, who tells them this? My husband's gone.
We're just going to tell them that their father passed away and that you're in the hospital under care. No details will be given out.
I can't believe this.
The community, initially charmed by their outward success, was left reeling as the truth behind closed doors emerged. Despite these warning signs, they eventually married and had their own children, Jaden and Sawyer. But Michael's career setbacks and his increasing use of alcohol strained their once promising relationship. Tensions mounted, leading to disturbing incidents of physical violence that left Danielle hurt and alone, yet unwilling to leave the man she still deeply cared for. From Cleveland to California, and finally settling in Florida, Danielle tried to maintain a sense of normalcy amid Michael's erratic behavior.
That defendant plunged a knife into the shoulder of Michael Redlick, which would cause him to bleed to death. The home that she is standing in looks like something from a horror movie. So you stood in that home with the power to call for help, and you let your husband bleed to death on that floor.
He had already bled to death. I was wondering if I could recover him or something.
Which one is it? Is he dead, or you think it's possible to save him?
Well, if he could be recovered, something would have to be done immediately. And so, yes, I thought perhaps I should do that.
So in these fleeting moments, you think Mr. Redlick can be saved, you choose not to save him.
I wouldn't put it that way, no.
Their once happy home in Winter Park became a place of tension and hidden pain. Michael's attempts to rejuvenate himself with hormone treatments only made things worse. His newfound energy sometimes turned into aggression, leading to frightening moments where Danielle ended up in the hospital with injuries she kept secret out of fear. Despite separations and attempts to reconcile, their relationship continued to deteriorate. Then, one tragic morning in January 2019, a 911 call shattered the peace.
We are getting an inside look at the Winter Park home where 65-year-old Michael Redlick was found the morning of January 12th.
911, you need police, fire, medical. I don't know. I think my husband's deceased. There's been a tragedy at my home.
Redlick's wife, Danielle, made the 911 call, but not after 11 hours had already passed.
Did you just find him?
No, actually, it happened last night.
It happened last night?
Correct.
She claimed her husband may have suffered a heart attack, but then changed her story.
He was not okay last night. We had altercation, and he stabbed himself, and I ran into the bathroom, and then when I came out, I was trying to help him, and I saw he was lying in blood.
Danielle reported Michael's death as a heart attack, but the scene that investigators found told a different story. A grim scene of bloodstains, cleaning supplies, and a fatal knife wound that pointed to murder. As detectives pieced together what happened, it became clear that Michael's death was no accident. Evidence of a struggle, blood trails, and discarded knives all pointed to a violent confrontation. Danielle's own injuries raised troubling questions about what really happened behind closed doors. The investigation uncovered a pattern of escalating abuse and deceit.
Inside the home, detectives found a mound of towels, bloodied and near a 5-gallon bucket with dirtied water. Bloodied footprints were present in the kitchen, along with a knife near the doorway and 2 in the sink, all of them containing blood marks. Photos of Danielle were taken outside the home. The pictures showed wounds to her wrists and blood on her neck and feet. She was taken to a local hospital where she was questioned by detectives.
Last year, he basically cheated on me, and it was a big, long, drawn-out thing, and we finally came around to living together again and possibly trying to work it through, but I think that really wasn't happening.
It was a text from another man, Danielle said, started an argument between the two the night before. The next morning, detectives were at the home, beginning the investigation that continues today.
Despite her loyalty, Danielle's attempts to hide Michael's violent outbursts ultimately failed. Forensic evidence and witness accounts painted a grim picture, leading to Danielle's arrest and a trial that gripped the entire community. During questioning, Danielle's statements shifted, initially claiming Michael's death was due to natural causes, then suggesting it was suicide after an argument. But forensic evidence contradicted her claims. Michael's wounds were inconsistent with self-infliction, and toxicology revealed high alcohol levels in his system. Days before the incident, witnesses, including their daughter Jaden, saw a heated argument fueled by Michael's drinking. Danielle left briefly and returned to find Michael drunk and aggressive. A confrontation ensued, leading Danielle to defend herself with a knife in what she described as self-defense.
You trying to get away?
I was.
You're trying to use something besides a weapon to get away?
Yes.
Do you have any choice but to use a weapon to get away?
No.
How many times did you stab him?
Once.
Is this the first time that your husband had ever attacked you?
No, but it was one of the worst, I'd say, scariest.
Prior instances of physicality between yourself and your husband, are those things that you were aware of prior to January 11th, having experienced them yourself?
Yes.
Are those things that informed your decision or your awareness of your fear
Yes.
that you testified to on January 11th?
Yes.
Let's talk about how we got to that point.
Okay.
When did you first meet Michael?
Her actions that night were clouded by fear and shock. She admitted to misleading emergency services out of concern that no one would believe her account. Her past struggles with emotional turmoil, including self-inflicted injuries and a volatile temperament, complicated her credibility. The trial painted a complex picture of a troubled relationship. Danielle, once a devoted wife and mother, faced accusations of premeditated murder driven by jealousy and betrayal. Evidence of her infidelity and erratic behavior contrasted sharply with Michael's positive reputation in the community. Friends and family testified to Michael's kindness and Danielle's volatile nature, highlighting a history of emotional and physical abuse behind closed doors. Yet, Danielle's defense argued her actions were rooted in self-defense, citing a pattern of abuse that pushed her to a breaking point.
It could just be that she killed someone with a depraved mind, but didn't necessarily plan it in advance.
It's then, when Danielle is locked up in jail, that she does something which raises even more suspicion.
I told you that I had the plea offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was basically they dropped the charge to manslaughter 10 years. According to, my lawyers, it was a good offer. But then today it seemed like they had bad news. They're like, well, no, the plea's not. He doesn't want to negotiate the plea now, and now he wishes he didn't give it to you.
Most of us thought, this is an airtight case, and she's going to be found guilty. If anything, maybe they let her plead out to a lesser degree. That offer was on the table.
Danielle made the decision to decline the manslaughter deal, where she would have served 10 years in prison.
There's some evidence they keep getting, but it's just stuff they took out of his desk when he was writing down stuff about when I had filed for divorce. Michael was so angry, he was keeping a log of stuff, like, he was just being vindictive, like, oh, today Danielle did this. And it's like, all this stuff this did to me. I better not share too much, but there's something really bad about him that he did when he was younger. They're trying to keep all of that out.
Ultimately, the courtroom drama unfolded against a backdrop of conflicting testimonies and damning evidence. Danielle's attorney argued for leniency, emphasizing her history of abuse and emotional turmoil. Meanwhile, prosecutors painted a portrait of a calculated crime driven by unresolved anger and jealousy. In the end, the jury deliberated Danielle's fate, grappling with the complexities of a case that blurred the lines between victim and perpetrator. This tragic tale serves as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking beneath seemingly ordinary lives and the devastating consequences of unchecked emotions. Michael Redlick, once a respected NBA executive turned educator, and Danielle, his stepdaughter turned wife, found their relationship veering into darkness amid allegations of abuse and infidelity.
The home that she is standing in looks like something from a horror movie.
The prosecution's strongest evidence at trial was the argument that manipulating the crime scene, hiding the crime, evidences a guilty mind.
This defendant did everything she could to avoid responsibility for her actions. The evidence will show that she engages in a significant but failed attempt to clean up the scene.
The events leading up to January 12th, 2019, would change everything. That night, Danielle made a frantic 911 call, claiming Michael had suffered a fatal heart attack. But the scene investigators found told a different story. A home stained with blood and a fatal knife wound that ended Michael's life. Danielle's statements during questioning shifted, initially suggesting natural causes, then alleging suicide after an argument. However, forensic evidence pointed to homicide. Michael's injuries were inconsistent with self-infliction.
Who then didn't claim self-defense when she spoke to law enforcement.
Did you actually locate some evidence?
Yes, I did. There was towels that were piled up next to the stair. There was a mop that had blood on it and a bucket full of pink liquid by the stairs. There was also knives. There was a knife in the doorway, knives in the kitchen sink.
I think the prosecution relied more on the physical evidence of her manipulation of the crime scene than anything else.
Prosecutors also tried to show evidence of problems in the marriage. An email from months before the stabbing from Danielle to Michael was particularly chilling.
I know I'm bitter at times, I admit, but you have a lot of nerve as well. Although my words may be cutting, they are only sounds, a dull knife compared to the sharp, disloyal, deceiving, phony, and never-ending, selfish knife you continue to twist in my back. Of course, someone would be messed up, traumatized, and may act out.
The trial revealed a complex web of emotions and motives. The prosecution painted Danielle as a calculating killer, driven by jealousy and facing financial loss in an impending divorce. Her net worth of $1.2 million and her conflicting statements during the investigation raised suspicions of tampering with evidence. However, Danielle's defense countered with allegations of Michael's manipulative behavior. They portrayed him as a predator who groomed Danielle since childhood, manipulating her vulnerabilities for his own gain. Despite a plea deal offering a manslaughter admission and a 10-year sentence, Danielle adamantly maintained her innocence, risking a life sentence if found guilty of murder.
Today's hearing took about 2 hours. The judge sentenced Danielle Redlick to a year of probation. Before her sentencing, though, the judge heard an impact statement from Redlick's teenage daughter. The 17-year-old explained she does not want anything to do with her mother following the murder of Michael Redlick. Now, Danielle Redlick was found not guilty back in June for the murder of her husband, though jurors found her guilty of tampering with evidence. State prosecutors say she waited 11 hours to call 911 after Redlick was stabbed to death and claim she used the time to clean up the mess. But the judge today sentenced her to 364 days of probation, giving her credit for her time in jail, which was 3 years.
You've already been adjudicated guilty of count 2, tampering with physical evidence. And so for that conduct, I will sentence you to 364 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 364 days time served. That's going to be followed by a period of 12 months of probation.
Redlick's lawyers read character letters from volunteers who helped Redlick while she was in the Orange County Jail, adding that she is a different person now who has already served her time. Now, the judge also told Redlick that if she wants to leave the state, she has no problem transferring her probation. Outside the Orange County Courthouse, Ezzy Castro, getting Results News 6.
In a surprising twist on July 17, 2022, the jury delivered their verdict. Danielle Redlick was acquitted of premeditated murder, judged to have acted in self-defense. Yet she was convicted of evidence tampering, receiving a 5-year suspended sentence after serving 3 years. Supporters and critics alike questioned the fairness of the verdict. Was justice served, or was the jury swayed by complex emotions and legal arguments? The case of Danielle Redlick challenges us to examine the blurred lines between victim and perpetrator, love and manipulation. It reminds us of the fragility of trust and the consequences of unchecked emotions. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comments section.